How I always say it is that DTW is the premier center for contemporary dance in the United States.
It's where you go to find out what's going on.
To perform at DTW meant that you were now officially part of the dance world.
Why it's lasted for 40 years? Vision, tenacity, stubbornness, passion.
I don't think that the career I've had and am having would have happened without being exposed here at DTW.
Dance Theater Workshop's mission, which has been in place for 40 years since our founding in 1965 as a choreographers collective, we discover, nurture, support, present artists in the contemporary dance world.
The thing I can say about Dance Theater Workshop is that it is fearless.
DTW's mission is to advance contemporary dance, in every way, shape, or form.
We're also about supporting the field in the sense of giving artists opportunities to grow and to develop their careers.
I think the major contribution DTW has made to the cultural life of New York City is in the longevity of its investment in artists.
You can see at DTW an artist who has made maybe his or her first piece, his or her 40th piece, his or her 100th piece, and they help artists develop their work over various phases of their career. I don't know of another space that has the same capacity to do that and the same track record of doing that.
I think it's really important to have organizations like Dance Theater Workshop that really support process.
To know that they're investing in the process and not in product is so important to me as an artist.
Here, process is very much about engaging with other people, your colleagues, your peers, the staff, other artists.
For me, process, from the point of view of a board member, is that we are allowing people to go to work, to follow through on what their ideas are, to give them a venue which will allow them to make new work and then show it.
What DTW is committed to is the development of the artists and not to the creation of product. When an artist is presented at Dance Theater Workshop, the public is aware that it's an artist that they should be looking to then and in the future for producing work.
What I really care about is a sense that there's an idea that is coming out, that's manifest on stage, that is really bold, and it's really brilliant, and it's rigorous, and it's challenging, and it's beautiful, and it says something that I haven't heard before.
It's become clear that DTW is out front in terms of experimental dance.
Dance Theater Workshop got started in the mid-60s. Jeff Duncan had gotten a Guggenheim grant, and I believe he used that grant to rent a loft on 20th Street. Jack Moore came in with him right away as the organization developed, and then Art Bauman, and they created the idea that it was pointless for modern dancers to work a whole year teaching or whatever they did to earn money to put on one show once. To have a place like that to show work was extremely important.
I don't remember the very first time I came to DTW, but when I was a student in college, I would come down to watch performances because my teacher was Jack Moore, who was one of the 3 founders of DTW.
So we had a place where we could show work without paying for it. And in fact, at one point, Jeff agreed to give us each $5 at the end of the show. Some people said they wanted $5 for being a choreographer and for being a dancer. And I think Jamie Cunningham said, Jeff said, we're not in this for the money. We thought of ourselves as kind of not exactly a cooperative, but it was a very sort of 60s organization. And the people that were part of it were a tight little nucleus with strays that came in and went.
And I think that DTW lasted from 65 to 75 because there were 3 dance artists who were totally dedicated to it: Jeff, Art, and Jack.
I first performed at DTW in 1977 as part of the Choreographer Showcase, which is now called Fresh Tracks.
I remember being in the old green room talking about critics.
I was thrilled to be there for a couple of reasons. One of them was it was beginning to have this reputation as being the place to be seen, so I was thrilled about that.
I was doing a piece called, I believe, Dance with Durga Devi, which was sort of a piece at Tibetan chanting and Tibetan bells. alternating with Bessie Smith. Arnie Zane and I we were members of a dance collective up in Binghamton, New York. And the dance collective was in Binghamton, New York because we felt that we didn't want to live in any big city. New York was a kind of a Babylon, a place where it was too mercenary, all the true values of art that we were the pure devotees of could not be found in this Babylon. That's what we thought. So, of course, we were very attracted by the idea of real critics and real dance audiences and spaces where they had real lights and real sound, because everything we were doing in Binghamton, we had to improvise. So there was we were ambivalent, but very excited, very excited. To perform at DTW meant that you were now officially part of the dance world.
Well, I don't think that the career I've had and am having would have happened without being exposed here at DTW. If I hadn't come here, you know, Mel Gussow probably wouldn't have seen me. If Mel Gussow hadn't seen me, then Mike Nichols would not have come, because he was brought by Judith Ivey. Their deal was she would take him to something he didn't know anything about, and he would take her to something that she didn't know anything about. So Mike took her to see Blue Man Group, and Judy said, "Oh, I don't have anything. I'm taking you down to DTW. I'm taking you to DTW," and that's where I was. And that's how I met Mike Nichols, and that's how I got to Broadway, and that's how Spielberg sort of knew of me at the same time he found out about a letter I'd written to Alice Walker. And her reply came here, and it's just a lot probably would not have gone down as smoothly as it did. And the result is I've had this really strange and wonderful 20-year career doing absolutely just what I want. Because it was established here that this was the kind of performance person I was, so.
DTW's impact on me as a choreographer, I wouldn't be here actually if it wasn't for DTW. I mean, to be really honest with you, I mean, when David White said to me, if you have an hour's worth of work, we'll present it at DTW, I lied and said I did. And what it did was it forced me to create the work because I wanted to show my work.
DTW's impact on me as a choreographer is one of those threads that's almost impossible to pull out. It's like asking what the impact of your parents are on you as an adult. I wouldn't have a lot of the opportunities that I have, plain and simple, had it not been for DTW being there. One of the biggest recent impacts on me personally has been the board at DTW. I am an artist board member, and I consider those people role models. They're an amazing group of generous, selfless, ethical, committed people, and it's simply inspiring to be around them.
There is a thing about the board members, and the truth is, on an individual basis, there's stuff that we might say we don't like, or individually, I don't like it. But we love it that it's happening, and we know how important that it happened. And it's great to be provoked, to be uncomfortable, to be satisfied, to see beautiful things, to see things one isn't quite sure about. I know after I stopped dancing, I stepped away from dance for a while. And when I came back to it, and I came to DTW, it was so reassuring to know that people were still putting themselves out totally, that they were doing it. They were taking all these risks. They were doing it. There was no economic return. There's no security. How do you talk about the future?
Only in increments are we able to provide artists with what they are entitled to and what they deserve to make their work.
The importance of supporting people with vision and places with vision is that if they all disappear, what are we left with? In my mind, we're left with Washington, D.C. I'll leave it at that.
Is there something primal about dance? For me, yes, there is something primal. It is honest, it's authentic.
I think dance is so immediate because it's nonverbal for the most part. It is our first language, and it has an immediacy that is always powerful.
Dancers and people who love dance truly believe the body is the site of all knowledge, and the body is a thing that truly can transform our perception of our existence here as human beings.
You know, I love to dance. I love to dance when I'm angry. I love to dance when I'm happy. I love to dance just because I think that walking down the street means that you should be allowed to, you know, dance your own inner music. So at its core, dance and performance and all of those things are the things that keep us laughing and moving. And if you take those away, we're just kind of repressed.
Dance is the most basic method of expressing our souls, our intellect, what we think is beautiful, what we think is ugly. So to foster an opportunity for dance as an art form, to speak to every one of us and to free every one of us to understand that we are all dancers inside, that makes us a human society.